A couple weeks ago, the 6th episode of Jujutsu Kaisen's 3rd season came out, and I decided to watch it with a friend. In this episode, we finally see the debut of Kirara's curse technique, Love Rendezvous. And while watching, I could only think to myself, there has to be a better way of using that power. I mean, she's literally manipulating some laws of physics with her curse technique, but she's still somehow this weak? Even when I brought this up to my friend that I was watching this with, all he said was,
Nah, bro, she's not that strong. Her curse technique is better for support.
but I just can't agree with that. I think that if she used her curse technique correctly, Kurara could be special grade. So I started looking up shit about her curse technique just to make sure I understood it correctly. And I thought I did, but I didn't realize she couldn't mark objects remotely. She has to physically touch them. When I learned this, I was thinking of giving up and moving on to a new video idea, but that's how losers think. This entire show's community has been pushing agendas for years now, and it's time I push my own. I will prove that Kurara can be special grade. Now, when I say special grade, I don't specifically mean being able to take down a country all on her own. I mean, I don't see how other special grades could even do that, with the sole exception of Gojo Sat. So to make Kurara special grade, we're just gonna say she has to be able to beat one of the other special grades. And for this, we'll make her fight Geto. No, not Kenjaku, Geto. Also, before I get into this video, I just want to say, I know Kurara isn't a femboy and that she's trans. If you got one of the titles that refers to her as a femboy, that was only for clickbait purposes. I don't want to offend anybody or any communities. Okay, with that being said, enough yapping, let's get into the good shit. Alright, if I'm honest, Kurara has a very confusing curse technique, so let me try to explain it in a simple way. Kurara's curse technique, Love Rendezvous, allows her to mark objects using up to 5 different stars from the Southern Cross constellation. Now, to make this even simpler, we'll just say that she can mark objects and people with the numbers 1 through 5. Alright, now let's say that she marked someone or something with the number 1. This marked object cannot approach the other marked objects unless it follows a specific order. For example, 1 cannot go to 5, 4, or 3 without going to 2, then 3, and so on. So her curse technique has this power of repellent. Panda even says it's similar to Gojo's Infinity. Now, another part of this curse technique is that she can mark multiple things with the same star, which causes them to be drawn to each other. Granted, when she does this, she may need to remove a star from something. She can only have up to 5 different stars on 5 different objects. But I don't think that'll be a problem since we just have her going against one special grade sorcerer. Alright, the first way that we have to upscale Kurara is to make a new way for her to mark objects without touching them herself, since that could be dangerous. Now, I'm gonna go on a bit of a whim here and say that the way that she marks an object is when her cursed energy makes contact with someone else's cursed energy. Also, I don't even feel like this is even a whim. I mean, all of Jujutsu revolves around cursed energy, so it only makes sense. Also, the fact that she has to mark other people's cursed energy and not always touch them physically is more proof. Anyways, tangent aside, we can use this fact to our advantage. We've seen early on that sorcerers can shoot cursed energy from themselves. So if Kurara were to shoot cursed energy at something, theoretically she should be able to mark it. And even if this doesn't apply, she could still have some sort of ranged weapon or a set of small objects that she could imbue with her cursed energy and send towards objects that she wants to mark. With this in mind, we no longer have to worry about marking enemies since we found a ranged way to do it. Now, what we do have to worry about is the offensive potential of her technique. As we see her use it, Kurara uses her curse technique to do attacks like attracting a car to Panda or attracting Shikigami to their owner. But realistically, what's stopping her from attracting entire buildings towards her enemies, especially in 1v1s? Not only that, but she can also attract a cursed tool to her opponent, and using the right cursed tool, she can do some funky shit. I mean, if she has the Dragon Bone, she can have it flying around making her opponent wonder when it will go in for the kill. And let's not forget the repelling part of her curse technique. If she marks an enemy and the cursed tool that they're using, unless the enemy can figure out her technique, they can no longer use that cursed tool since it will always repel from them. Also, I wouldn't think she can do this, but if she can mark specific body parts, there's nothing stopping her from marking opponents' limbs and making them repel from their body. Or even worse, she could mark their internal organs and do some funky business and probably just make them implode or explode. I mean, she has a powerful technique, that's been established. But what if we took her technique and reversed it? By the way, if you've made it this far and you're enjoying the video, it would really help if you subscribed, and also like the video if you want to see more stuff like this. Also, damn, I'm saying also a lot. Anyways, check out my Twitch and my Discord if you like my stuff. And sorry for the shameless plug, let's get back to the video. In Jujutsu Kaisen, sorcerers can improve their curse technique by taking the positive curse energy often used for healing and applying it to their curse technique. This is called curse technique reversal, and we see this in characters like Gojo. By default, when he applies negative curse energy to his curse technique, it results in the ability Blue. But by multiplying the negative energy against itself, sorcerers can create positive energy, and this can be used for healing, or they can apply it to their curse technique. For example, when Gojo applies this positive energy to his curse technique, it results in the ability Red. Now, let's try to apply this to Kurara. There are two ways I could see her curse technique reversal. The first is that by reversing her curse technique, it inverts the attraction and repelling rules of the stars, and maybe the objects that she marks with positive energy are named differently or are based on a different constellation. This means that if the marked object doesn't follow the constellation in the right order, instead of being repelled, it would be attracted. The second way I can see her curse technique reversal is that by reversing her curse technique, the stars have to follow the opposite order. Now, I think the more realistic version of this is the inverted rules of attraction and repellent. I mean, it quite literally reverses the main function of the power, so it only makes sense. Now, let's apply this curse technique reversal to actual combat. Let's say that Kirara can mark 5 more objects using positive energy. That's 5 more marked things for her opponent to worry about. And these new marks would have to follow new logic. So instead of Mark 1 having to go to Mark 2, it's repelled from Mark 2 and attracted to Mark 5, then 4, then 3, and so on. Also, if she marks 2 things with the same star, they would repel, which could make it easier for her to repel things like weapons an opponent is using away from them, because with the normal technique, she needs 3 stars to do that, but with the reverse, she would only need 2. She can also mark her opponent with a positive mark and a negative mark, allowing her to basically control them at will, depending on how she marks the surrounding area, of course. With this reversal, instead of not moving where the constellation is ordered, the opponent is constantly attracted to the next star. I mean, the way I imagine it, if she becomes skilled enough, she can basically just manipulate her opponent or herself like she has gravity control. Maybe a bit less freely, but you get the idea. Now, Kurara is very strong at this point, but I can make her even stronger. I mean, up until now, we've only been talking about her curse technique. We haven't even incorporated the other parts of Jujutsu sorcery, such as Kurara's domain expansion could be a million different things with a technique that's this complex, but I think it would look something like Megumi's domain, something that would perfect her technique. Kurara's domain would probably allow her to mark an infinite number of objects inside, and she can probably also mark whatever is in her domain completely remotely. Now, she would really benefit from an open domain like Sukuna, but we've only seen him do that, so that shit ain't happening. Anyways, her domain would perfect her technique and allow her to mark anything within it infinitely. Quick JJK spoiler warning for the manga, I would skip to this timestamp if you don't want to be spoiled on a domain that hasn't been animated yet. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Naoya's domain is a great example of what Kurara's domain could be like. In Naoya's domain, he can apply his projection sorcery to an opponent on a cellular level. In Kurara's domain, she could most likely mark parts of her opponent's body down to a cellular level, and basically make her opponent implode or explode for the quickest kill. She can also just control her opponent or herself like she has gravity control, by marking certain parts of her opponent's body or her body with certain stars and making them repel or attract. Her domain's sure hit effect is terrifying. With infinite stars, there's infinite possibilities. But she doesn't even need to expand her domain. She would benefit from just a simple domain. Simple domains can be used defensively and offensively, but what intrigues me is how she could use her simple domain offensively. We've seen sorcerers use simple domains offensively by attacking whatever enters them, so using her curse technique, Kurara can start flying towards her opponent or make her opponent fly towards her and activate a simple domain. And once they enter the domain, she can attack them, basically guaranteeing a free hit. And maybe if they stay in the domain, they just constantly get hit until she deactivates it. She could also use her simple domain defensively, of course. If somehow her opponent figures out her curse technique because of the plot, I'm looking at you, Megami, she can just activate simple domain and defend until she can apply new stars to her opponent. Now, there's a bunch of other Jujutsu shenanigans that she can use, like Binding Vows, Domain Amplification, and Reverse Curse Technique, but I won't get into those. With all of these abilities, Kurara can definitely beat some of the special grade sorcerers if you ask me. I mean, let's go over how much stronger we made her. We came up with a way for her to mark objects from a distance. We improved her offensive abilities by talking about how she could use her attracting and repelling powers for combat. Let's not forget that her base curse technique has very strong defensive abilities. We came up with her curse technique reversal, which lets her mark 10 things in total and can confuse opponents even more, and could also pretty much give her gravity manipulation if she were to practice it enough. Her domain could also be one of the most powerful in the series because it could pretty much just give her gravity manipulation when inside of it, and she could also just make her opponents implode, explode, or get their limbs torn off. She becomes one of the most overpowered simple domain users with her curse technique, almost guaranteeing a hit if she attracts her opponent to her simple domain. And if practiced, she could probably also learn the other parts of Jujutsu sorcery, such as reverse curse technique, domain amplification, and all the other shit. I will push the Kurara agenda till the day that I die, because there's no way with all of this she isn't special grade. She can pretty much manipulate gravity, mimic Gojo's infinity, and make her opponents explode or implode. Anyways, Yuta's a fraud, Toto's a goat, and please, for love of God, end the modulo Yuji glaze. Feel free to argue in the comments all you want. Thank you for watching, bye bye now.